the financial illusions that keep societies in permanent scarcity from the moment we are born. We are taught a single unquestioned belief that resources are limited, money is scarce, and struggle is normal. We're told that poverty is unavoidable, that competition is natural, and that only a few can ever truly succeed. But what if this belief is not a law of nature? What if it is an illusion? What if scarcity itself is engineered, maintained, and protected by systems designed to look inevitable while quietly serving those who control them? This story begins with a mystery that most people never stop to question. How can a world capable of producing more food, energy, and technology than at any point in human history still leave billions struggling to survive? Why does wealth keep concentrating upward, even as productivity increases? And why do societies accept permanent scarcity as if it were unavoidable? To answer these questions, we must go back to the origins of modern financial systems, long before digital money, stock markets, or global debt. Scarcity did not begin as an economic reality, it began as a tool. In ancient societies, wealth was measured in land, livestock, and labor. Scarcity existed, but it was local and visible. A drought, a war, or a failed harvest explained hardship. But as civilizations expanded, something changed. Rulers discovered that controlling resources was not enough. Controlling access to resources was far more powerful. This was the birth of artificial scarcity. The shift accelerated with the rise of coinage and taxation. Early empires realized they could demand taxes only in official currency, forcing people to work within the state's economic system. Suddenly, survival required participation. Scarcity was no longer just about nature, it was about policy. Centuries later, during the rise of modern banking in Europe, this idea evolved further. Banks discovered that money itself could be created through credit. Loans generated interest. Interest required repayment, and repayment required continuous labor. Scarcity became systemic. No longer was money merely a tool of exchange. It became a mechanism of control. The illusion deepened with the establishment of central banks. These institutions were presented as stabilizers of economies, protectors against chaos. In reality, they centralized the power to create money and decide its flow. The public was told money was scarce, while those at the top could create it with keystrokes. This contradiction was hidden behind complexity, jargon, and authority. As industrialization expanded, productivity exploded. Machines replaced labor, efficiency soared, and wealth creation reached unprecedented levels. Logic suggested that abundance should follow. Instead, scarcity intensified. Wages stagnated, working hours remained long, and inequality widened. The cause was not failure, it was design. The 20th century marked the rise of fiat currency. Money backed, not by gold or tangible assets, but by trust. This removed natural limits on money creation, but the benefits were uneven. Governments and financial institutions gained flexibility, while the public gained debt. Scarcity was reframed as responsibility. If you struggled, it was framed as a personal failure, not a systemic outcome. The illusion reached a critical point during major financial crises. The Great Depression revealed how quickly artificial systems could collapse. Yet the response reinforced the same structures. The public suffered, while financial power consolidated. The pattern repeated in 2008, when risky financial products created massive profits for institutions, followed by catastrophic losses for ordinary people. Here lies the breaking point of the illusion. Every crisis exposes a truth. Money can be created instantly to save banks, markets, and corporations, but not to eliminate poverty, guarantee housing, or ensure basic security. Scarcity appears only where it benefits the system. The fallout from these crises is always the same. Public debt increases, social services are cut, and individuals are told to tighten their belts. Meanwhile, asset owners recover quickly. Wealth doesn't disappear, it changes hands. Scarcity becomes permanent for the many, temporary for the few. Attempts to fix the system often fail because they treat symptoms, not causes. Policies like austerity, interest rate adjustments, and stimulus packages are presented as solutions. Yet they rely on the same illusion that resources are limited, and sacrifice must be unevenly distributed. Quantitative easing injects trillions into financial markets, inflating asset prices while leaving wages behind. The illusion persists because it works. Today, The pattern is unmistakable. Global wealth has reached record highs, yet inequality continues to grow. The top 1% controls nearly half of global wealth, while billions live paycheck to paycheck. Automation and AI threaten jobs, yet abundance remains inaccessible. Housing sits empty while homelessness rises. Food is wasted while hunger persists. These are not failures of production. They are failures of distribution, justified by the myth of scarcity. Modern financial systems depend on this illusion to function. Debt requires scarcity to remain valuable. Wages must be constrained to protect profits. Inflation quietly erodes purchasing power, shifting wealth upward without visible force. The system does not collapse under these conditions, it stabilizes. History shows us that societies trapped in permanent scarcity do not fail suddenly. They decay slowly. Trust erodes. Polarization grows. People blame one another instead of questioning the structure, and those who benefit most from the illusion remain invisible. So what does this story teach us? First, scarcity is not always real, it is often engineered. Understanding this changes how we interpret poverty, debt, and inequality. Second, financial systems reward those who control money creation, not those who produce value. Labor sustains the system, but capital shapes it. Third, crises are not interruptions. They are features. Each collapse reinforces the same power dynamics under the guise of reform. The warning is simple, but unsettling. A society that accepts permanent scarcity will never demand structural change. As long as people believe struggle is natural, the illusion remains intact. The question is not whether abundance is possible, it is who is allowed access to it. If this story challenged the way you see money, scarcity, and society, continue exploring these hidden systems. Share this perspective. Question the narratives you're given. And remember, once an illusion is recognized, it begins to lose its power.